Whoa. We'll get there. Okay, here we have our JJDL Pokemon Draft Analysis. And we are playing in the BAYLEEF division in NFE. So, as you can see on screen here, we have our first round pick in Diplin or Driplin, because this guy has drip, come on. Now, it has great stats, 80 HP, 110 defense, and 80 SPDAF is phenomenal for this format. You'll be surprised, 95 special attack is also incredible. We are 4 times weak to ice, but you know, with Yachi Berry and Sticky Hold, we can't lose it, it can't get knocked off, and we'll always be able to 1v1 opposing waters and be able to knock them out with an Energy Ball or Leaf Storm. Other than that, also we can go for strong Draco Meteors or Dragon Pulses, since there are not many steals or fairies in this format, which makes them really free clicks into lots of Pokemon. We can also do something like a very funny set like Starberry Gluttony, which raises a random stat by 2 stages when at a quarter HP, or with Gluttony at half HP, and Recycle. Well, is this gimmicky? Yes. Is this pretty much flat out gambling? Also yes, but if I'm ever locked for playoffs and I have a game where I can just do whatever I want, I probably won't be because I'm not great at this game, I might give this set a go. It seems very funny, and also we've got a great shiny. So for our next pick, we decided to pick Terra Drizzle. For those of you who played last season, you know how much of a demon this thing is. Now, with things such as Terra Flying Terra Blast or Terra Fairy Terra Blast, 2 great offensive types in this format, since there are not many resists to them, especially the fact that there are virtually no steals in this format. And yeah, it's really strong offensively. We can also go for something like Terra Water, Hydro Pump, Surf with a choice specs, just do crazy amounts of damage off that strong 95 special attack stat, and we also have 90 speed, so we will be outspeeding most Pokemon in the format. Now, we don't get Ice Beam, which is kind of crazy for a water type, to be honest. They pretty much all get Ice Beam, but it's fine. Terra Blast more than makes up for that. To be honest, we could probably go for Terra Ice, Terra Blast, but at that point, I'm not sure why you would do that. And with U-turn, we can just get on out of there. Now, our coverage is kind of non-existent, but since we have Terra on it, I don't think that this will be an issue. So we had 8th pick overall, so we had to wait a bit for our next pick, but we decided to get Rhydon. Now, this was 15 points, the most expensive, one of the most expensive things on the board, but it was still there. Now I can see why. With 45 special defense, 40 speed, and a ground rock typing, I can see why this might deter some people from drafting it. Now, it is 4 times weak to water, 4 times weak to grass, which are plentiful in this format, but I believe that because I think the way they're viewing it is that it's not great as a first round pick, it has a lot of weight to carry for its team, and a Pokemon with such susceptible weaknesses isn't really a great round 1 pick. But since we got it round 3, we have 2 very strong Pokemon in Driplin and Drizzle. I think it's great because we can also just go for something like Focus Sash, Stealth Rock. I think people are forgetting that this thing has an incredible 130 attack stat. Honestly think it might be the best in the format. And yeah, we get Rock Polish and Sword Stance. So we do this, and put on Earthquake and Rock Slide. I think we just win if we can ever get that off, which I think would be very fun. And of course we can always be something like a Rindo Berry or a, what's the water one called? Oh yeah, Pasho Berry, which means we could take a hit, maybe even go for a Rock Polish and claim a few kills. So after that, I decided we need some speed and also some very good offensive power. Well, we already have lots of that, but did not wanted to keep up on the theme because we drafted Monferno. Now this Pokemon is it has a great 81 speed stat, which once again is great in this format, as I discussed with Drizzle. And with Iron Fist, we can afford to go for something like a Fire Punch if we don't want to take Recall, or Drain Punch to be able to recover HP. A great thing is that we can hit on both attacking stats, so we could choose whether to go, you know, max attack or max special attack, which could be pretty cool, as we can decide what we want to do depending on the matchup. And we also have options like Sword Stance. Do we get Nasty Plot? Yeah, we get Nasty Plot as well. So it's a very versatile Pokemon. It was 13 points, so another high priced Pokemon, but I don't really mind, especially with like Life Orb and stuff. I think this Pokemon can do work for us this season. So for our next pick, we decided to get Prinplup. Now originally I wanted Quaxwell. It also gave us Rapid Spin, but Prinplup is pretty good as well. Now at first, at the time, I was kind of skeptical on how good this pick actually was. I'm thinking maybe I should have drafted something else since we already have like a water and stuff. But now looking back on it, I'm very happy that I did decide to go for this pick. Being at 10 points, we can hold Eviolite, and we can go for a very simple set of Surf, Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Roost, and Flip Turn. With Roost is obviously being able to recover 50% on a Pokemon with great natural bulk. Just see like Max Bidef holding the Eviolite, and we have a lot of bulk through our HP and special defense stats. We can also be physical. I really like how it plays. Flip Turn gives us slow momentum, for example into breakers like Monferno and Drizzle. And yeah, it doesn't really get too many other options, but usually the set is just going to be enough. It will always force progress and win like 1v1s against opposing waters, because they likely do not get access to recovery. And yeah, I'm glad I decided to go for this pick. So after this, I decided to pick up Floette. Now this is one of the few fairy types in the format that I was talking about, and we can also hold Eviolite, and these are its stats: 98 special defense with Eviolite. In a format where things generally don't really hit that hard. Now this is just an incredible mon here. Like, this is a special Pokemon's not going to be able to break this, since we also have access to options like Synthesis and Wish. Now 47 physical defense isn't the best, but since we already have such a high natural special defense stat, we could also do something like this, and you know, 212 defense with Eviolite honestly is not that bad. We also get slow momentum out with Baton Pass, and as I said, it enables like our Drizzle and Monferno. As for attacking options, we have like Moonblast, I think Energy Ball, Psychic, I think that's it. We do technically get Chilling Water, but not really sure how much they'll come into play. We have some cool options we can play around with as well, such as like Pull and Puff. I think this will be a very fun Pokemon to use, especially as not many things switch into Fairy in this format. I told you. there are not many fairies in this format, and it's also very good offensively, such as on our Drizzle. So after Flower, I had a bit of a decision to make. Now, with only 15 points remaining, I could have spread it out over a few Pokemon. For example, I was thinking of getting something like Bronzor, Tentacle, who also gives us Spin, and Toxic Spikes. But then I learned that it doesn't get normal spikes, which Tentacruel does. And, you know, to be honest, no offense, but Tentacruel and Bronzor and those sort of Pokemon, they're really not that great. And I could hear in the back of my head, there was one high-end Pokemon left, and that was Stantler. Now for 13 points, this was certainly a big investment to do, but I'm glad I went for the decision, because this Pokemon is an absolute beast. We have another really fast Pokemon with 85 speed. You know, genuinely in some matchups, Stantler, Drizzle and Monferno could outspeed the entire of the opponent's team, which could be absolutely crazy. Now Normal is also a surprisingly good offensive type here. As I said, there are not many steals and the only realistic, not many ghosts as well, so the only realistic resist will be Rock. And something like a Choice Band, Double Edge, Max Attack, Adamant if we can afford it, will just do so much damage. We can also have like Trick on this set just to cripple opposing, like maybe cripple some Eviolite mons, steal Eviolite for ourselves, which will just make Stantler even more crazy. And also we can also hit on the special side. Don't forget, we also have a great 85 special attacking stat. We don't get Hyper Voice for some reason, I don't know, but something like Terra Blast, Earth Power, even Psychic, and we can have like Calm Mind or something. That might be pretty cool as well. And yes, it was a big investment, but I personally like how it plays, and let's see how it does on this team, eh? So, at this point we only had 2 points left for 2 Pokemon, but I personally think we rounded out the team pretty well. And first we decided to get Paldean Wooper. Now for 1 point, I think this is a steal. It gets all the hazards, well, Stealth Rock, Spikes, and Toxic Spikes. A lot of teams, including mine, don't have removal in this format. Like, for example, in Gen 9 OU, Hazard Stack can be a bit of a problem, but in this format there aren't really that many great hazard setters. So Wooper is a really nice exception to have. We also have Save Recover, we can hold Eviolite, and these defenses aren't crazy, but if we like max them out, for example, put all of it into special defense, or put all of it into defense to get an actual, we can actually have a pretty respectable defense stat. And yeah, Wooper will be very fun. Of course, I love Wooper, and I hope it'll be able to shine in a couple games. And finally, we decided to get Tarantula. Now, is this Pokemon good? No, but just like Wooper, it gets pretty much most of the hazards. It gives us a Sticky Web user, which I'm pretty damn sure most teams don't have. We also have Spikes, we have Toxic Spikes. It's a great lead. And an option which I think is really cool is Circle Throw. This is so that, say we lead it, we go for Sticky Web, and they decide to set up. Now, since we are holding the Focus Sash, we can always live any hit, and Circle Throw will switch them out, which means they cannot set up for free on Tarantula. Obviously, they can't do it on like Wooper because we have Unaware, or even if we're Water Absorb, just the threat of Unaware sometimes will be enough to make them switch. And yeah, that's our team for JJDL. Alright, here's the moment you've all actually been waiting for, or you could have just skipped it, I don't know. But for context, it's my NFE team versus his actual draft team. He didn't know my team coming into this. I didn't know his, but I'll just let it roll and show you absolute cinema. And yeah, there it is. I have to be honest, this was absolutely hilarious when I was playing it, and it still kinda is. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a like, maybe subscribe, why not? And yeah, I'm not sure I'll have time to be able to do content for each week, but if I can, I'll see you next time.